The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Well, my girl got the sweetest pussy.
No, she never.
Welcome to SinCityBounty.com. We are broadcasting live from Las Vegas, Nevada, aka Sin City, from our fabulous studios at WWDBTV.com.
.net. .org.
No .nets. As a
we just .com.
social media web person, if you do not have to buy the .net, do not buy the .net. Nobody remembers.
.net? I never got a .net.
Nobody remembers that your website is a .net.
However,
they will always type in .com.
However, for SEO purposes, you should own the .net, because if somebody else buys your .net, they can then flood the search engines with keywords that would take them to the .net instead of your .com.
True. If you can afford the .us and the I remember when .xxx came out and
but you only need the
.vegas came out. Oh my God.
You only need the big three: .com, .net, .org. If you're Vegas, maybe a .vegas, but it's not gonna last long either. Sorry, John.
Is Vegas a thing? Do you own .vegas?
Yes, I do.
Do you really? .vegas, do it, people.
You can get all those, but nobody remembers that your website is a other than com.
True.
No, but if you point your .nets and your .orgs and your .coms and your .infos and your whatever the fucks to your .com, it does increase your SEO.
.org is safer, because especially if you're an actual charity or something like the Smithsonian or a government agency or something like that, or .orgs are cool. In fact, I thought we should be a .org our group.
Yeah, I thought so too, but we still could. I mean, we could buy the .org.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing saying we can't be a .org. I mean,
I want to buy a .org just for the hell of it now. I mean, if everyone's getting a .org, like, I don't want to be out.
You should be asm.org.
Asm.org. Yeah.
Orgasm. Asm.org. Whoop whoop.
Orgasm.
Before we get into the sex talk, because we got a little bit of it tonight,
Boop.
I want to give a shout out to our biggest fan, who we love dearly, Vendetta, who is down in Florida without power, limited cell service and internet service, so more than likely he is not watching us tonight, and that's okay, but he is safe, and still relatively sane in Florida, as opposed to all those people I saw on the news today who were jumping into the ocean, riding their bikes in hurricane winds, and just doing all the
dear assholes. Just because it hit it at a 3 instead of a 5 does not mean you get to run around in shorts and a t-shirt and act like a fucking douchebag. You douchebag. Because then I get shit like my boss who comes in and goes, "Oh, CNN and it's fake news. The hurricane wasn't that bad." And I'm like, no, it was still plenty bad. There's still plenty who had their houses flooded out, and there's still places that are completely destroyed, and there are still people who can't go home because they can't get access to their homes. It's still billions of dollars worth of damage.
It's switched. I mean, because my brother's on the East Coast. He's right at the beach. He's taking photos on the beach as things are happening. His dog's there at the dog park, like playing with crabs. He's just so totally chill, but of course his house was boarded, and they have plans for where to go, but it shifted from that side to the other side. So their biggest focus then on the East Coast was the bad storms, loss of power, they're all out power.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had tornadoes. So tornadoes came touching down throughout the area. It still did a lot of damage, but the area that it did damage wasn't as prepared as the other area.
Right.
Because at
the last minute it was like, I'm going over here, nah, bitches, psych, and it went over here.
We're going to go over this way. So. Yeah,
and I love that they have to tell people not to shoot their guns into
the. Do not. I saw that.
It is you people that make the rest of us gun owners look like fucking psychopaths. Stop it!
One of my favorite things, though, is on social media, Facebook has Hurricane Irma pages, or Hurricane Harvey pages that people can, from the afflicted areas, can check in. Most of my family has checked in, thank goodness.
Good.
So
They do it for every incident.
Every
They
major
have a
thing.
check-in option, and if you have someone in an area, it's been happening with like terrorist incidents when the fires happened. Northern California, the forest fire, like when that place burned down that you're anyway, so if somebody doesn't check in and say that they're safe, you can request to check on them, and then they'll check in when they're safe. I love my Toxie page because I get people where it's like, so-and-so is safe in Istanbul. And I'm like, oh, I have someone on there in Istanbul. Like, I had no idea, but I'm glad they're safe. So
I usually, whenever I see things like that, I go, I need to go find out what's happening in Istanbul.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same. I'm like, I had no idea something was going on, but let's go.
Istanbul, you mean Constantinople? I played old school. Sorry. Can we talk about your writing prompt? The
Sure.
superhero writing prompt?
Sure. So I am an artist. And one of the things that I've been doing for the last couple of months is this challenge. It's the September challenge. It's called Rock Your Handwriting, #RockYourHandwriting. You can join. It's a Facebook group, and you can go on. It's also on Instagram if you just type in #RockYourHandwriting. You can go on, and every day there's a prompt for you to write something about, and it's to help you improve your handwriting, or as a prompt for journaling or whatever. I do it because I am working on my cursive, so I can write faster and neater, although I have very good handwriting anyway. But I get a little fancy sometimes.
She's a calligrapher, y'all. Professionally.
So I didn't know that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I see them when you post them all the time. And I thought you were just kind of showing off your handwriting.
She thought you were being a fucking show off.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I got it the
technically,
day before.
I
It's very pretty, but
kind of
come
am.
on already. Like, it's like day 502. Like, we get it. You write amazing.
Yeah, it's like you write pretty. I write for like exactly like where I was raised.
I've actually learned quite a lot from the group about journaling. I didn't know anything about journaling, so now I've got all these new journaling techniques because I love to write and stuff anyway. But my prompt for yesterday, the 11th, was what is your superhero power? What are your weapons? What are your abilities? And what is your
Superpower.
what is your power? Right. So I was telling Sierra about this on the way in, and we set out what ours are. Now, I wrote that I'm very good at being condescending.
That's her superpower,
That's
y'all.
my power. Only on occasion is it inappropriately done, like towards a fellow friend or loved one. But most of the time it's, leveled at those who actually need it out in public. Those people who are actually stupid. My ability is I can sniff out your bullshit from a mile away. And my I forgot the other one.
Your weapons.
My weapon is being condescending. My power is sniffing out your bullshit, and my ability is being able to love them and leave them. If you're in my life, that's awesome, and if you decide to leave my life, whatever, get out. I don't care.
We were talking about this on the way in today because I had to pick her up, and I figured my superpower is my ability to adapt to any environment I'm in. I can have dinner with the Queen and be courtly, and I can have go to a pig roast with a bunch of bikers and blend right in with them too. So that's like, I'm like a chameleon. Like, that's my superpower. I can adapt to whatever environment I am.
Adaptable Sierra.
Yes, adaptable Sierra. My weapons are my quick wit. That's what Alexia says. I said my weapon was Google, but she said it was my quick wit. So I'll go with that because it sounds way better than Google. But my ability is I can make you think that I am not an asshole. And that's totally not the case. I'm totally an asshole. Lots of people think I'm a super nice, like generous, like funny person. And that's not true. Inside, I'm a total cunt.
So since we're on the subject, do you know of what you could classify as a power?
I do.
What's your superpower?
I have the ability to diffuse any situation.
No, that's your ability.
That's your ability.
So your superpower is?
That's.
I happen to think that her superpower
Butt
is
sex.
making people. Her superpower is to be smarter than everyone thinks she is. That's your superpower.
That happens.
It's true.
Do you make people feel smarter or do you have the ability to make people feel super smart? I think I have that in small quantities. I think.
Right. I have the ability to make people feel good about themselves. Like
That's
I have the
awesome.
ability to remind somebody, about the good in them, or to pick out the positive in any situation.
Her
That's a good power.
superpower is snowflakiness.
Well, there you go. Then.
Her weapons are her butt and her eyes.
Do
Use
you
what I got.
purposely use your butt to sway other people's opinions or
I don't use
actions?
it to sway. I have used it to garner attention before. But I don't use it to sway somebody from, one thing to another.
Not even in your ex-husband relationship? You didn't use the booty to be like, let's not do the thing that you want to do, douchebag. Let's do what I want to do instead, booty booty.
Are
I
you
didn't
twerking?
I didn't have to limit it to my booty. I had
The golden
I could've
pussy?
used- I had the golden pussy.
That is a power that all women have.
That is
by
the
way,
universal feminine wiles power.
is the golden pussy.
I could have basically offered up any of this good shit.
Or we could use the term yoni, since that is or my mom's term hinoi,
Hinoi.
golden hinoi.
I love Hinoi.
Do you believe you have any super abilities there, Johnny Fever? Yes. He's nodding yes.
Yes, I do.
All right, what's your superpower?
I have no clue.
Okay. Ability.
No. My superpower is to create some things out of nothing.
Oh, that's awesome.
That
That is awesome.
That's an awesome power to have.
That
Yes,
a good
it is.
Power.
I'm hungry. I need French fries.
I can create. I can create.
Can you?
Can you Jesus me some
concrete
wine?
things out of abstract.
Nice.
You want some wine?
Yeah.
Now I'm back on
now-
the French fry. Can you materialize some French fries
Now your
Just
super
like
weapon.
This camera.
That's true. His camera shows the truth of it all.
And sometimes it makes the truth look
Did
way
you say
better than it is.
weapon or weapons?
Either.
or.
Okay, weapons would be quick wit and charm.
Oh.
Nice. And then ability.
Ability to keep my mouth shut when I'm on this side of the camera, and I see some complete cock wobbles,
Cock wobbles.
makes
cock
sense.
wobbles on
Cock
the other
wobbles.
side
Forget.
of the camera.
That is a great ability to have.
So
And-
you're a
and it
cock
is-
wobble blocker.
I'm a cock wobble blocker.
I have
No, he's
I-
a cock
no,
wobble enabler.
I have no
I'm a
restraint.
cock wobble
Denier.
He's not an enabler.
affects. I don't know.
You block him. You block it out. You block out the
No,
cock
I can't
wobble.
block
You're
it
a
out.
cock
I
wobble
just walk
blocker.
away shaking my head going, what the fuck?
SMH. I always say something. I can't keep my mouth shut.
No, that's part of my ability to make you think I'm not an asshole. I can smile through it most of the time.
A lot of people.
And like I'm sarcastic.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize that they have these. I mean, these are mundane abilities, right?
Yeah.
They're not true superpowers, but the ability to be able to do something like not stick your nose in where it definitely is needed, or to be able to blend in with every man, every kind of person, or the ability to make people feel good about themselves. Those are actual traits that you should be proud of, that you have the ability to do. And so I'm doing your job right now. Hopefully, for you guys who listen to this show or watch it or are watching now, think of this prompt. What are your powers? What are your weapons? What are your abilities? Let us know. We'd love to talk about it.
Facebook it to us, y'all.
Yep. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place. Even Google Plus. We're over there too. And we're not employed by Google. Yeah.
I would love to work for Google because you know what their company motto is? Do no evil.
Here's what their company motto is. One of the biggest things you can recruit for is Google. Like recruiting for Google is like the ultimate, highest.
You can recruit me right into Google.
The highest level of everything. But the beauty of Google, or maybe not the beauty, is you think like, oh shit, like this is a sweet gig. I'm working for Google. They provide me with meals. They have every amenity known to man.
But they work you like the...
Yeah, they trick you. I mean, they work your ass off.
They work you like the little slut slave you are.
You don't have to leave for meals, right? You don't
have to leave for meals, so you can keep working. Every amenity is there. Why? You need a massage?
Childcare.
We got it. Yeah, there's a childcare issue.
Sure, you can work late. It's no problem. Your kid's just down the hall.
Yeah, so they have every...
We'll read him a bedtime story.
Hell yeah. Will. They're like,
it's the
they've got nap rooms in their offices.
Yeah. You know why they have nap rooms?
Because you're there for 18 hours. That's right.
So
I would do it for a company like Google. I would do 18-hour shifts.
I've had a job.
I like working, so I would do it.
Yeah, I've had a job where I loved the job that I did, and I spent more hours there than needed to be. So
yeah, tell me about it.
You love being here. If you were not here right now, you would miss out on this.
Yeah, true that.
No, I wouldn't. I'd be sitting home watching it on Facebook Live.
Watching some other fucking asshole sweat his balls off for this show.
You didn't stay away from us for long. I mean, we did have a different board operator for a while. And
for a few shows, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you were like, nope, I need to get back in there with those ladies.
No, he bailed on me.
Well,
because we embarrassed him about his penis size.
Yeah, we talked a lot about his penis and balls.
His mom made him quit.
Yeah. You know why? Because I told him, he said his mom was watching the show, and I said, when I see she's watching the show, I'm going to ask about your balls. Right when I know your mom is listening. So
here's the deal, y'all. If you come on here and you tell your mama to watch, and we find out your mama is watching, we're going to say some shit. Like when my mom watches, we don't say shit because we know better. But
when my friend came on from high school and her fiance was there and they said, oh my gosh, all of my family is home watching. And I was like, hey, so how often do you masturbate? I mean, I was like, right in, tell us your worst. Didn't you tell me a sex story about wetting the floor at the hotel where your sibling is staying in the room with you?
What about that time you took it in the butt? Not as big of an impact if the person you're interviewing is gay, though. So.
Right, and they're like, I got plenty of stories.
Last night, it was wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Speaking of sex, let's talk about your Saturday.
No. It was, well, I mean, it was my Saturday, but it wasn't actually my Saturday. So Toxie sends me a text. She's like, let's go to the studios. And I'm like, let me figure out what's going on first, because I may have had some other plans, but...
For those of you who haven't listened to the show before or are new to it, the studios are a place in Las Vegas.
They are the resurrection of the old Power Exchange. Same owners, a lot of the same stuff. It's just in a new location called the Studios, and it's a social club where being naked and having sex with other people is totally okay.
It is our new hang.
Because it's free for the ladies. Although, don't get used to that because they're about to change some shit. We're not allowed to make announcements, but just to let you know, it's not going to become expensive, but it's not going to be free for ladies.
Cheap enough, trust me. It's cheap enough. But you bring your own alcohol. They have mixers. They have it's amazing. It's comfortable.
Snacks.
It's relaxing. There's snacks.
Is it in Utah?
No, it's here.
It's here.
It's actually down the street from my house.
It turns out the condoms are not.
No wonder you're
salties.
never home.
I mean,
yeah.
So it is a great place to hang out, and as I found out this past Saturday, it's a place where I know everybody.
Apparently, we're sitting down. We're just sitting in the, I guess you would call it the lounge area. It's where not a lot of. No, I can't take. I got to take that back. I was gonna say.
Talk about the.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I was gonna say. Usually, there's not a lot of sex happening in the lounge area. That's where the pool table is. There's usually a lot of nudity happening. Like there was a lot of naked pool playing happening.
Right.
And let me tell you, I loved every fucking minute of it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're sitting there just drinking our drinks, and like 85 people walk up. They're like, Toxie! And she's like, hey! And I'm like, the fuck? We can't go. I can't take you anywhere without you knowing half the people there. I don't care if we could go to church. We go to the sex club. We could go to a BDSM meetup where I should know everyone and they'll all know her.
And it kept happening. That's the thing. I mean, the one lady was like, hey, I'm about to run, but I saw you over here. She's like, I just got out of this room and I have to go. And she's like, I wanted to say hi. And
it was just constant.
It was
constant.
It was super interesting. But so we're in the lounge and there's a lot of seats. And the two of us were like, we're just going to chill. Mm-hmm. Tonight is a watching night. We're just going to have a few drinks, just enjoy being out of the house, and we're going to chill. And let's stay here for now. Like, let's just
lounge in the lounge. Because it's one entire wall is glass, so you can see the outside where all the people are sitting around naked and enjoying the fire pit and the hump boat.
You can see most people as they come in and go off in their different directions. So we're like, it's the
perfect spot to people watch. And there's this little nook like right behind the couch, but there's still plenty of seating back there, but not a lot of people go back there, so you can sit there in full view of everyone. People sometimes forget you're sitting there, and they sit right in front of you on the couch, and they start having conversations and sex, and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, so we got met by our friend. I've been trying to come up with a name for her all night. Marissa. We'll call her Marissa.
I can't fucking remember Marissa.
That's so far from her. No, that's so far from her original name. So we'll call her Marissa. She met us there. She'd never been there before, so I took her on a little tour. And at some point, I came and sat her down with Toxie. I was trying to names. Toxie. And I went back to the bar to get a drink. And as I am coming back, there is this fine ass bearded dude. And we made eye contact, like, whoop, like if the ability had been there for me to be single, I'd have been single, because that was serious chemistry that happened. Like, I don't even think he made it to his destination. I think he turned around and followed me right back to where we were sitting.
And so he was one of those hot bearded dudes that's like the model, like the hipster model that you see in a magazine, and you're like, oh my God, here's like hotbeardeddudes.com. And
I'm looking that up right now.
And so, like, bam, there he was, and he had like tattoos, and he's
like, my beard is soft, and we were petting his beard like it was a fucking cat, dude.
It was super sexy, super sexy. And the best part was, so he was totally like talking to you, and so finally, you explained that, you were in a relationship.
Sorry, not happening.
And then he moved over to Marissa. I just had to look down. I almost said it. He went over to Marissa. He's talking to her, and she's like, hey, I'm in a relationship. And then they're like, she's the only single one.
She's the only single one here.
Right? And he's like, oh, I mean, hey, what, you want to go do something? And I'm like, I'm not third.
Did we just have the same conversation last week?
We did, and I did it. I'm like, I'm not third.
But he totally hung out with us all night.
All night. He was super cool.
Super cool. Great conversationalist.
I said, we'll be your wing woman. Like,
we'll get you laid.
Yeah. I'm like, if we see a situation, but it really was, it's normally pretty even, guy girl, but it really was a sausage fest this particular night.
It was pretty sausagey.
Like, it was very sausagey. And we found out really more about that later, but we'll get to that. But let's stay up in the lounge for a moment. So we're in the lounge. We're hanging out with Hottie Beard Dude.
Hotbeardeddude.com.
Hotbeardeddude.com. I have to hashtag that.
Hashtag HBD.
HBD.com. And again, super nice guy. And so he's like, I'm just gonna chill with you ladies, all right? And
we're like, that's cool.
Conversationalist and all this. So we're sitting there, and we're all there, and the next thing we know, some people come in, and there's a radio show that happens beforehand, and I believe we're going to have them.
We're at least going to have their stunt cock on next week. I don't know about the rest of them, but we'll at least have their stunt cock on.
We'll at least have one individual from there. Who, when we'll talk about it later, but when he told us his name, we're all like,
you got to be on the show.
Yeah, and they were like, that's
just
a
from
fake
his name.
Yeah.
Just from his fake name. He was like, yeah, that's a stage name. We're like,
well,
okay.
No, at first he tried to say it was real. He's like, no, that's really my name. And I go, my name it really is Toxie O'Shea.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
and
like,
I'm Sierra McGinnis, motherfucker.
Yeah, and he's like, it's not. And we're like, no. And we're like, and yours isn't either. He's like, yeah, you're right. So,
we know about show names, motherfucker.
Right, we know, we recognize. So they all come in, but they come in with this ginormous suitcase. And so I see this guy, like, with the case, and I turn to him, and I'm like, are you moving in? Like, why do you have that gigantic suitcase?
And he's like a fucking salesman, just flick, flip,
yeah,
boom!
He's like, wait till you see this. Zip, 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 bam. Like, just like that.
I looked at it, I was like, ooh, a Sybian. And he's like, no, but close. It's like a Sybian. If you know what a Sybian is, it's one of those half-moon vibrating things. It's got a bunch of different attachments, so you can do different things.
Ones.
She just did this. That's all.
Yeah. It's for female pleasuring.
Right.
But he had all kinds of weird attachments, and he had like a leaning bench for it, so a girl could get
he had
comfy.
A leaning bench, and he was prepped. Like, he plugged it in. And so here's what he pulls out, and I have to talk about this after, but he pulls out some baby wipes and some spray. So the first girl gets on, he hooks on an attachment. I'm like, if you're going for it, I mean, that's probably not the attachment I'd choose. It was very small.
It was a little on the small
For
spot,
attachment.
but I think it was designed to hit both the G-spot and the clitoris at the same
Maybe.
time,
Okay,
so it doesn't
okay.
have to be that big.
Right, but she was a bigger girl, so I think maybe she could have used just a little drop more, because she was... It was very much a performance.
What,
It was
were
a
his
performance.
attachments lined up like Allen wrenches or
Yeah,
something?
No, but he did have them out on display.
Yeah. So we're like, should we go or stay? And we're like, no.
Yeah, we'll stay. So it was very much a performance, because there was no evidence of pleasure when she extricated herself from the situation.
Right. So it was. That's why I said
It wasn't juicy when she got done.
I knew exactly what you were talking about.
But
You
here's the
didn't
thing.
explain that to me.
The dial on there. Here's how
That's
it went.
mansplaining.
Oh, that's what it is.
Here's how it went. The dial, it has a dial where you turn it up and down, and he's like reaching over, helping her, push her down a little more, and he's
Putting a
turning the
finger in her
dial.
butt.
Yeah, he's turning the dial, and it's going. It starts out like zzz, and then he's turning the dial, and it's like zzz. It's like industrial.
Is it noisy? Like
Yes.
So
the ones like you wouldn't use if you were staying at your mom's house. 'Cause
Yeah.
No,
it's
No,
too
this,
noisy.
this is specifically for like group pleasure. I mean, you
It
could use it by
has to be.
yourself, but you better be a single girl with a thick underfloor or live on the first floor. Don't be a second floor motherfucker with this.
It was loud, and we know how loud it was because later we heard it from a different room, but it was loud, so-
Across the hall.
across the hall. So he's turning it up, and at one point he's like, and we're sitting here trying to carry on a conversation, but you can't. Like, there's this girl.
It's literally from
running-
us to the end of this table.
And my feet now on the ground. It's vibrating so hard. My feet are vibrating.
feet.
And so we're trying to have a conversation, but it was kind of like one of those, like, can we have a conversation? Because someone is riding this in front of us, and we're vibrating from it. Like, we're about to orgasm as a secondhand smoke.
This is secondhand orgasm.
We're about to secondhand orgasm purely from being there, like in the vicinity of this vibrating toy. So yeah, we're kind of like, well, let's just finish conversing. I mean, with a smile on our face, we're like, let's just stay here a little bit longer.
The cool thing about this dial is it's not a click dial. It's not a slide, but it's a rotating dial, but it's got a smooth rotation.
A rheostat.
That's it. So he was able to go back and forth at whatever speed he wanted and at whatever intervals. And he was like,
he was a magician.
he was like, wow, wow, wow,
Not
yeah.
a magician, a musician.
He was a sex
Like,
DJ?
He was a sex
He was
DJ.
spinning
Like,
the clits of the 80s, 90s, and today.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. So,
You can't use that because that's actually a quote from a famous comedian.
Sex
we'll
DJ.
just say he's spinning the clits. That's all.
He was totally spinning the clits.
Sex DJ. Yeah, he was. She wasn't even giving an indication. Like, she was pretty monotone about her, like,
His performance moaning.
It wasn't even. It was like, I don't know, like a duck choking. I don't know. It wasn't.
It was like the count getting off.
Yeah.
One orgasm.
And so that exactly what continued. And I mean, so that's how you knew. Like in this case, based on where the location was and what was going on, she truly was just there for show. And she did the best she can. But I mean, when you have like a jetliner vibrating under your vagina, you have no choice but to duck it out. Like, you've just got to get like your whatever you can muster at that moment. And then of course, when she finishes and she gets off, she makes a whole show of like stumbling around, which she probably was. I mean, her whole body was probably numb at that point.
Yeah, she was probably numb from the tits down because that thing was vibrating like 8,000 RPMs per second. It was insane.
So then we smoked a cigarette, like post.
We were like, woo!
So post orgasm, we were, and that wasn't even masturbation driven. It was just, again, secondhand orgasm. Like,
yeah.
Jasper says secondhand squirting.
Well,
No squirting. It was not juicy.
No. Yeah. So,
and I need more than just vibration to orgasm.
Yeah.
Really?
So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on the speed of which I want to get off, what is what I need. So if all I need is just a wham bam done.
Yeah, if I need to go to bed, yes, like a high octane volume. Yeah.
Right? Start out at
Just
high
zip it out.
that's
But I don't have anything that vibrates at home, so
Nothing?
no, I'm not allowed.
Wow.
Because vibrating tools, if used too often, can cause clitoral numbing. It's temporary, and if you stop using it, it comes back again. But I really don't want to have to go through all the hassle of getting my clit used to 8,000 RPMs and then have regular sex and be like, oh, yeah, it's great.
You're like, do you see that toy over there? Can you bring it out?
Unless you have a partner who is willing to use the toy at the same time.
Right, like a toy occasionally during sex is fine, but not as a masturbatory tool for myself. Because like I said, I don't want to get used to it and then have to fake sex or fake orgasm. I guess you can't really fake sex. You put it in or you don't.
But wait. Is there alternate sex?
Alternate sex? That's butt sex.
Like alternate facts.
Oh, alternate
Yes.
facts. Alternate
There have been a couple of occasions where I've wondered if it was in.
Oh, God, it all.
Definitely alternative sex then.
Yes.
Because I can fake moan, but I'm actually really good at fake moaning. That's a skill that a lot of girls have, is to recognize fake moaning.
So I'm kind of void of that. And so here's basically what happens. I'm there like, yeah. So did you like catch the show the other night? I can't, like, I'm not
You
really
can't
good
fake
at
the
Really?
orgasm?
No.
Well,
Can you imagine
time
yourself through to an orgasm even though you don't want to be there?
No. I mean, one time I literally said to the guy, like, I'm just not enjoying this.
That's
I've
good,
done
though.
that before.
You know what? That's good though. This was when I was young and stupid with all the fake orgasm. I don't believe that women should do that anymore, ever.
Yeah.
I think if you're not enjoying it, you need to say something.
I think if it's a matter, if you're in a relationship with someone and you need to get off and they need you to get off, as a service to your partner, occasionally it's okay to fake it.
I mean, maybe in that circumstance.
Yeah, but like if you're
But
just
don't ever tell them that you faked it, because it'll just
Right, then
it'll
never
totally
know.
destroy their self-esteem. So
yeah, don't tell them you faked it. Just practice. First off, you got to practice fake orgasming. You can't just go into that shit cold. You better be hot. Like, you better be so good you get yourself off by faking getting off. Like, that's how good you've got to be at faking it. And then, you can't ever tell your partner. But if you're out just having rando sex, or what did one of our co-hosts used to call it? Sport fucking. If you're just out sport fucking, don't fake it. If it ain't going like the way it's supposed to be, tell them. Because I did that one time. I mean, we got the greatest story ever out of it. But I faked it with that Canadian guy because I just wanted him to. Thankfully, it was only like a minute and a half, so it was all right. But it's.
See, for me, the worst are, I really prefer guys who have been married before. So, like, divorced guys, it's just, it works better because they've had the wife. They've, like, they know that you kind of got to talk it through, figure out what works. And So it's a little bit better, but when it's like younger guys who really haven't been in the same situation and they're like, I'm just gonna fuck you hard and be done and you're gonna love it and I have a big dick and it's gonna be amazing, then it's not like there's no effort and they don't like. I don't want to sit there and school them. It's not my job.
No, but in some cases I can just take it. Like if it turns out if I'm halfway into it and it's just not what it's supposed to be, I can just. Can we do a doggy style? And then I can close my eyes and pretend it's someone else, and then I can get off. So it's not really faking it, I don't think.
Oh, see, I'm just.
Well, not if you get off in the end eventually.
Whether or not it was because of them or because of my own imagination. I have fucked so many people in my own mind.
I mean, I will tell you, like, with one, I felt kind of bad, so I was like, I mean, I really wasn't enjoying it, and I did say, like, I'm just not into it, and I do the whole, like, don't worry, it's not
okay.
you.
It's not
I've done that. I've done that a few times.
I've done it before.
As I'm older.
But guess what? It was you!
There was one time where it was me. I was just like, I thought I wanted to have sex, and then we got like trying to get it started, like get the engines going, and I was just like, meh, it's just totally not gonna happen tonight. I'm sorry.
You actually used the word meh.
The
word that we see written all the time that nobody hardly ever really means.
I use totes in verbal conversations as well, y'all. But yeah, I was just I may not have said meh, but I was probably like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, it's just not working for me tonight. Can I just blow you? Get it over with. Titty fuck you.
That's very nice of you to at least offer that up.
What? Just because I don't want to get off doesn't mean my partner shouldn't get off. I mean, girls, that's what your mouths and titties are for. When you don't want to fuck someone, blow them. Keeps the relationship happy. And usually only takes like 10 minutes tops.
If you're good.
If you're good.
Be faster if you're really good.
I'm 5 minutes or less.
To do that stroking at the same time and the tickling of the balls and all that.
Get your tongue to go all the way around it while it's still inside your mouth.
There you go.
I got some skills, girl. Skills.
All right, anything else to report from...
Yeah, so much that.
Okay.
This is just the beginning.
This is just the first half of the night.
This is like the appetizer.
We only got 20 minutes, so...
Is...
All right,
That
we'll
is
shorten.
the appetizer.
We'll shorten the story down.
No, you can't shorten this one. This is the best part.
Okay.
No, we can shorten it.
That's all right.
Okay.
We could always do continue next week.
So we'll shorten it. So bottom line, we end up downstairs. They move their machine to one of the rooms downstairs. Everybody goes in that room. So we're like, let's just go in here.
So this machine is the hit of the night.
Oh, yeah. Because like 4 or 5 girls rode this thing all night long.
This guy goes on tour with his machine.
No, they're part of the
various
show.
Sex clubs.
Yeah. They're the show that runs there.
Okay.
And they had the machine, the company that makes that machine is one of their sponsors. So we're going to have to get some information. But anyway, they might sponsor this show. We can't do displays on our show, though. So we were downstairs giving the grand tour to Marissa and Hot Bearded Dude because it was the first time for both of them, I think.
Right.
So I'm giving them, like, here's the glory holes, here's the group fucking beds, here's where you can sit and jack off.
When we walked in, so 3 women, and then Hot Bearded Dude's, like, standing there. When we walk in, she's like, these are the glory holes. And all of a sudden, I don't know if you noticed, guys start coming over.
Yeah, because 3 girls walk into the glory hole.
They're like, what? And then we're like...
There was already a dude in one of the glory holes. Yeah. You could see his little besocked feet underneath the thing. And I was like, good in this. It's dark in here because I don't want to peek over and see his little Peter poking out. Yeah. But anyway, so then we go back to the back area of the downstairs. On one side is the sex dungeon where all the BDSM equipment is, and on the other side is what I call the cockslet room. There's a dance pole, which I wouldn't...
Yeah, it's not for fat girls.
Not for
I
fat girls.
kind of prefer that room. I like just hanging out in there.
Yeah, because there's this big comfy couch. There's like 3 big comfy couches in there.
There's things in there that I really want people to try.
There's an oxygenation chamber.
I asked everybody if they would go in the oxygenation chamber. Like, it took us a while to figure out what it was.
Then we figured it out.
And then it had like plugs or something
for your nostrils, and it's a hermetically sealed chamber, so you can go in there and just have nothing but pure oxygen in there with you. But I'm sure it's not hooked up to an oxygen tank, so it's just a
so you might
just
die,
a room.
But
I don't think you can seal it. I don't think you can
really
seal
cool.
it.
I mean, I was willing. I was willing to watch somebody and take that chance. And if he tapped out, I would have opened it for him.
So shorten the story just a smidge more. Our friend Marissa decided to put on a show for a hot bearded dude and any other guys who wanted to come watch.
Yeah, guys. Well, guys were wandering in and they're like, "Hey, are you ladies?" And you know, at first they're all like, "We're taking, she's single," and then it became, and then I'm like, "No, thanks. I'm just hanging out." And then they kept saying, "And she's just a cock tease."
Yeah,
that's it.
We were like,
just a cock tease.
Toxie's just a cock tease. She's just here to tease you all. And so Marissa and I were kind of making out on the couch because, I mean, she's hot. And so, you know, we're making out. And then she decides to put on a show for everybody who's standing around masturbating to us just kissing. And so she starts playing with herself. She's masturbating in the room. And now, I mean, it's like guys have vagina sniffers.
Right.
I think guys came from down. I think like their little spidey, their little pecker sense went out, and they're like, doot, 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 doot. There's a female with her vagina on display downstairs in the cock tease room. We better go.
It was as if they all had a text chain going on.
Yeah, because
someone sent the message out.
I like look up, and there's like 10 dudes standing around whacking off while she's masturbating, and I'm like, I got her here, hot bearded dude here, Toxie's right here, and I'm just sitting in the middle, just like. I'm watching all these guys masturbate. By the way, that's my #1 search for porn. Male masturbation. I was in heaven.
So here's what happened for me. It was cool. The first few were cool. I'm like, oh my god, there's like 3 dudes standing here masturbating. Like, this is kind of hot. At the point I couldn't count anymore, I'm like, there's like 10 to 12 right now. And now I can't make eye contact because the minute you make eye contact, like
they come over with it, and they're like,
they come around. And I was one, so our friend Marissa is like, hey guys, if you want, you can jerk off and leave it on my, you can come on my legs. So all the guys were like,
accommodating.
Yeah, so all the guys were like, oh yeah. And
one guy asks her, he's been jerking for like 10 minutes, and he's like, can I just come on your foot? And she's like, yeah. And it was like you pushed his prostate, because he just all over her foot, dude. It was like, and as soon as he came on her foot, then all the freaky foot fetishists came out, and they were like, can I come on your foot? It was bukkake on her foot, dude.
It was foot bukkake.
Was it like the vomit effect? One came and then all the rest came.
So here's what's happening now. So I have this older gentleman who is in front of me jerking off, and my whole thing was I kept going, do not get anything on me. Do not get, not my legs, her legs. Do not get anything on me.
Well, and this older dude was like totally playing himself off. He was like, yeah, I've been saving this up in this big old Jack Daddy for a week now.
Yes.
Dude, it wasn't that big.
He was super nice. But here's what this nice gentleman kept doing. He was originally in front of me, jerking off, carrying on a conversation. He's like, he's like,
he is.
And he's there, and he's like, can you believe I'm like 58? I'm about to be 59. And he's going. He's like, I think I still got it. Don't you think so? I'm like, yeah, you still got it.
And then this adorable little Indian dude comes over just to, I think, get around him to kind of see the action. Yeah. And he's like, nah, man, back off. And I'm like, dude, you just cockblocked that poor little Indian guy.
Yeah, but everyone who tried to get around the side, like next to me, he became the ultimate cockblock. He was like, no. So no one could come around the side. I was grateful for that. I didn't want accidental drippage.
Well, I'm just saying he was a little rude to some of them.
Well,
he could have just moved closer to you, but then he would have because he was totally down for masturbating on foot bukkake.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and he's like, and he even said at one point, he's like, I'm sorry to do this, but I'm gonna have to go down there on that foot. And I'm like, by all means, enjoy. And he takes himself
He excused himself to go bukkake on a foot.
Yes. He
was a very polite masturbator.
Yeah, he was very polite. But it was the ultimate scene. It is one of those where you're sitting there and you're going, how am I here?
I'm in the middle of a porno right now.
And I'm like, and again, I'm going
like this. It's a little surreal, right?
Yeah, and I'm like this. I'm like, I can't look anyone in the eye. There's a lot of penises. I was interested in staring at first, but now, again, it's just a lot. Like, it's a lot. Like, it's like you're at the park, and there's a cute little geese, whatever, and you have some bread, and you're like, here you go. And then 532 of its friends come, and all of a sudden you're like, I only had one piece of bread.
Instead of the birds, it was the cocks.
It was cock.
So-
It was a cockacolypse or something.
The very first time we went to the Power Exchange, there was a woman who was getting fucked on a chair. And we, as just voyeurs, were all sitting together around our male escort so none of the guys would bother us. And much like your experience, a bunch of guys started flocking around this woman, penises in hand, dicks in hand, masturbating as they're watching this display. And I got the feeling, have you ever seen, I expected each of them to drop their cock and to point their fingers and their mouths to open, much like in that sci-fi,
Body snatchers.
Body Snatchers, like, ah, like that. I swear to God, it was so eerie and surreal. That was my whole thing was the Body Snatchers.
That's what this was. Like, if all these guys had nut at the same time, we would have been slime like Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It'd
It'd have been that scene just everywhere.
It would have been deadly.
Yeah.
But no, so some of them got a little bored, like waiting in line for the foot. So they just kind of took it elsewhere. Plus, a lot of action was happening across the hall.
There was some back and forth action. Like, they'd go over there, and then they'd come over here.
We had women come in. Like, one lady came over, and she was talking to me. Like, she came up, and she's like, blah, blah, blah. And it was great. Some of the trans girls came in, and then they were jerking off, too. Like, they got right in there, and they're watching, and, like...
I'm telling you, I was in fucking heaven. It was... She might have thought it wasn't a cockalypse, but it was cock rapture for me. Cocks everywhere.
I love watching, and I love cocks, so it's like the perfect scenario. But to me, it was
especially since we were sitting down and they were all standing up, so we were like two eye to one eye level.
Yeah. So we were cock level. So all one of those fuckers had to do was like not heed a warning, and it would have been come in the eye, and then that's a whole different story. Like.
We would have been thrown out for punching a bitch in the nutsack.
Right. I would have totally knocked them out. But they're really good. Just to share with you again, when we go to these clubs, they're very safe. So I think that in the room across from us, when one person was on the machine, I think they wanted to be alone in the room. There were too many people in there, so they asked everyone to go out of the room. And somebody said, no, I don't want to leave. And immediately somebody came over and they're like, no is no. She said no, you need to go now. And like they made them fully leave. They are right on top of it. I mean, just right on top of it.
Yeah, and their security people are plain clothes and just kind of walking around with everybody else. So, number one, it affords dick bags the opportunity to be a dick bag, and then you immediately make it on their dick bag list. You're not allowed back. Like, gone. Like, if you violate the no means no policy, you're out. And so, it's kind of like entrapment, really. Like, I think it's great.
You can tell, like I know on a plane you're trying to figure out which is the marshal, like which one has the gun, and it's kind of the same. Like when you're in there, you're like, all right, which one is security? But it's very easy to tell. They're the one without their dick out. Like. They're the one just standing there to the side, and you're
but they did have a lot of security girls running around this time
because
too.
I pulled out my phone for something, not when all this was happening, it was after. I pulled out my phone, and immediately she came over and she's like, no phones down here.
And we were like, whoa, goddamn, out of the woodwork. Yeah. Like that waitress who's always refilling your fucking cup, like.
Right. And every time people came to use the bathroom in this room, I think everyone decided to have sex in that room that night.
It was like a 4-hour wait.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I just kept saying they're taking a shit. Like, you might want to go find another bathroom.
There's 3 other bathrooms in that place.
I'm like, I figured I'd help them out. And I'm like, they're in there taking a shit. So.
You can look up the studios. Just type in The Studios, Las Vegas. And you'll be able to find them. They're local here. They're in a neighborhood. It's nice and quiet. And we love going there. Really love hanging out there. These ladies really like it.
It's a great place if you're broke on a Saturday night, but you got a bottle of liquor at home.
If you're a girl.
Well, even if you're a guy, it's only like $15-20
Oh,
really
that's
for
cool.
guys to get in. It's not that expensive. And
of course we go there often, or at least these ladies do. So if send us a message, and if you want to go on a night that we decide to go, maybe we'll include you in our plans.
We'll hang out.
you can be part of our debauchery.
Debauchery.
Whatever.
You can be part of our net circle.
Do we have more stories? Are we going to continue this next week? Or
No, that was it.
That
The
was it.
Footbukkake was the.
That was
Footbukkake was the finale?
After that, we were like, we just like
the
we
grand
like
finale?
squeegeed her off
point,
and then went home.
At that point, we're like, there's nothing else. That's
Although I
going
did
to
totally
happen
sit in
my
her wet
life
spot.
That will top this. There's nothing.
Until next week, I'm Alexia.
Toxie.
Sierra,
We will see you next week if
you're brave enough.
Later, bitches.
Footbukkake.